So you're saying that that James Earl Ray did not kill Martin Luther King?
No, he didn't kill him.
Even though most people, well, he was convicted for it, right?
He didn't kill him. The homicide file for the Memphis Police Department reaches the same conclusion back in 1968. They entered their file in protest to the DA's office. Their conclusion was Ray is not the gunman. He was not even in Memphis that day. We know conclusively where he was. You have to understand, though, the news media puts it out as he was the self-confessed killer of King. That's not true.
So why do you think he got convicted for the murder?
Well, he didn't get convicted. He pled guilty. All through the transcripts, the entirety of the record, he never confessed, and often he said, I never said I killed King. I didn't kill him. I'm pleading cause of Alford. It says, even if you are not actually guilty and you are pristinely innocent, you may plead guilty to the charge if you think that doing so is in your best interest. The shot came from the dormitory in the fire station through a window that had been slightly parted. I did talk to Captain Tommy Smith, who retired as head of homicide for the Memphis Police Department, who was the first detective on the scene. He said the shot couldn't have been from the flophouse because there was a window that he was supposed to fire the shot out of. He said, but there was a limb about this thick growing diagonally through the window, and you couldn't even see the Lorraine Motel from that location. He said, I came back with crime scene in about an hour, and I found out there was a cut-down order sent out to the sanitation department early that day, but they were on strike, so they weren't going to cut it down.
The state was bound to the theory that James Earl Ray, acting alone, killed Dr. King. The evidence, we thought, totally belied that. The lack of the state's ability to convict James Earl Ray. The first key is the failure of proof that the gun that Ray bought in Birmingham is the gun that killed Dr. King. The wrap package, there was no time at all for that to have been done. The only real witness, the only sober witness, the only reliable witness was a man named Knipes, who owned a music shop underneath the rooming house. And he was going to testify that the package was thrown down 5 or 10 minutes before the shot was fired. I think the evidence is such that the state could not prove that Ray acted alone, killed Dr. King. For instance, James Earl Ray had never smoked a cigarette in his life. When they found his Mustang in Atlanta, the ashtrays were full of cigarette butts. I had interviewed every wino in Memphis. One of them was in the corner room in the rooming house. He said he heard the shot fired and he saw a diminutive, little bitty guy in an army jacket running down the hall in the rooming house carrying what he thought was a broomstick. In the trunk of the Mustang, we finally saw all of that. It was a diminutive little army jacket. James Earl Ray couldn't get his little finger in it. That corroborated the idea that there was somebody else there. I think in 1968, there was so little evidence to identify somebody else that the only thing that the state and the government could do would be to convict James Earl Ray and close the book. You've seen the picture of Jesse Jackson and several of them pointing from the Lorraine Motel. They're pointing at these bushes. They were mysteriously cut about dawn and cleared out the next morning. Till this good day, nobody knows where they are. We thought it was important, this picture was important, because it shows the bushes. The rifle that was found in the box is not the gun that killed Dr. King. The FBI ballistics just simply don't support it. The best they could say was that's a .30-06 rifle and a .30-06 slug killed Dr. King.
He wasn't killed from the bullet that hit him on the balcony. He was taken to the St. Joseph's Hospital, and he was killed in the emergency room of St. Joseph's Hospital by the chief of neurosurgery, Dr. Breen Bland, who came in when they were all working on him in the emergency room, and he said, "Get out of here, let that die." And as they moved out of the room, the last one out was a surgical nurse, Lula Mae Shelby. And when she heard them gathering up spit in their lungs to spit on Martin's body lying on a bed there, then she saw Dr. Bland take the catheters out of Martin's body and take the pillow from under his head and put it over his face and suffocate him. And that's how Martin King died. That's how he was really assassinated. Now, he might have died anyway from the bullet wounds, but he didn't. He was still alive and still breathing. The chief neurosurgeon, he intervened and he made sure that death would result.